In this video, I'm just going to take a quick look at the new OSRIC Player's Guide by Stuart Marshall. So this book just came out and I picked it up on Amazon, and I believe it's an Amazon print on demand book. And it's basically just the player's rules for the OSRIC game. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this rule set. And this is for the players. I think it's handy because in a game you can hand this out to the players and you don't have to hand your book. You can keep it for reference and stuff. Plus it keeps the characters from snooping through monsters and magic items and stuff like that, which, you know, is nice to keep some of the mystery in the game still for the players. And so the artwork is updated. It has a lot of really nice artwork in it. That's something I really appreciate about this version. I'm hoping that Stuart Marshall will also produce a DM's version of this book and also a monster manual version of this book, an updated version. I haven't heard any plans that he's going to do that, but I'm hoping that he does. And that'd be nice. But just taking a look at some of this art. So these rules are, I'm pretty sure, well, not word for word, but I'm pretty sure that they're a remaking of just the players' rules in here, but with a lot of nice artwork updates. The artwork's gotten a lot more sophisticated. I really like this one. A lot more sophisticated, especially than the original D&D rules, which I know some people will be upset by. But the original D&D rules, I mean, let's face it, they had kind of a naive aspect to them. And I think that was probably just because, well, art always evolves. Artists always get better. And as they get better, they get cheaper. And this was probably a cost-saving measure on their part. I know when I was doing graphic arts in the 80s, people were always looking to get sort of cheap art. They would always flaunt the idea that, oh, it'll give you exposure. Yeah, no, who cares about exposure? But anyway, I still love the classic art for sure. But this is definitely updated of the art. And then if we look through the original stays sort of closer true to form from the original D&D, in that the art's a little bit more naive. If you know what that means, just basically untrained. So I think as time progresses, art always gets better. You know, this is taken obviously from a work that the copyright has passed on, so it's some kind of old painting. But don't get me wrong, I really like the art in this as well. But I do like the updated art. And so the purpose, like I say, of buying this would be just to be able to hand out to players, or maybe you're a player and you don't want to cart a great big book like this around with you. No, I printed this out myself, or I got it printed out for me on Lulu, and I love this book. Nice, big, chunky, but this is more like a GM's resource than or DM's resource than it is for a player. And this is sort of reminiscent of the old player's handbook, right? It's a little bit thicker, right? But I think it's thicker because, as you'll notice, the font here, the font is a lot bigger here, and the layout is more spacious. And I have to say, things are a lot easier to find in this, right? So this isn't 100% if you're not familiar with OSRIC or OGL. You can't do 100% copy of this because a lot of the things, even though the mechanics of the game are not copyrightable, the specific values and stuff and numbers like that, if you do it too close to the original, then you do run into copyright problems. So we'll take a look here at the Thief, for example, and you can see, for one thing, the original is laid out a little bit differently. So in the original here, we've got pick locks first, but it's climb walls here. Open locks. We have open locks way over here. And then the values are different too. Like open locks, you start off with 25%. In OSRIC, you start off with 30%. So the differences are minimal, but they do exist. So pickpockets here, 35% in OSRIC, 30% in the original. So those are the starting values, and then I imagine there are differences as you progress as well. Also, we've got down here the races. So dwarf, elf, like the different bonuses and penalties, those are a little bit different too, as they have to be. So you can't really play OSRIC and then pull out the old first edition D&D books and cross-reference them. If you're going to play OSRIC, you kind of have to stick with OSRIC because there will be differences, and although they're minor, they still exist, and they might screw up the balance a little bit. So that's one thing to be aware of if you're going to play OSRIC as opposed to the first edition rules. Now, the reasons for playing OSRIC I've stated in previous videos as well, is just because these are actually laid out and a lot easier to reference and find stuff. Look at the big print in it. It's really nice. I love it. And as I say, I hope that he's going to put a DM's version of this, and I hope he'll put out a Monster Manual version of this, because I'll pick up both. You know. Anyway, that's it. That's just a quick overlook. Stuart Hill, Seattle Hill Games, he also created the white box version of the game, which I've done videos on before. I also picked this up on Lulu, Wizard Scroll, which is, this is for white box, but it would work with this too. And that's the other thing too, is it's pretty easy to convert. If you do want to pull stuff out of the first edition, it's very easy to convert it over to OSRIC. As you can see, there's just very minor differences, right? But you know, the books are a lot less expensive. You can pick them up new. If you want to introduce new players to the game, you can. They don't have to go through your valuable first edition player's handbook to find things, threatening to wreck it with Cheeto fingers and stuff like that. Instead, you can just hand them this. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Just a quick look. Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe. I'm hoping to get to 1,000 people, because then I can start posting things in the community on YouTube, and that would be really awesome. Right now, I can't really post anything there, so please remember to subscribe if you can and help me reach that goal. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for watching. Talk to you next video.